Iran is signaling firepower ahead of any fresh talks, while Trump has halted his envoys from flying to Pakistan, deepening the sense that diplomacy is stuck behind coercion and mistrust. The immediate question now is what comes next after Trump cancelled the Pakistan trip, because the ceasefire remains fragile and no clear breakthrough path is visible. There is also growing concern that the conflict could resume if pressure tactics keep replacing serious negotiations, especially with both sides still trying to bargain from positions of strength. Iran is also hinting at a hidden arsenal the US may struggle to fully track, with reporting pointing to missiles and launch systems buried in underground infrastructure that could be restored or redeployed. And as pressure around Hormuz keeps building, fears are rising again over Iran's next-generation missile capabilities and its ability to escalate beyond the maritime front.
I'll deal with whoever runs the show. They don't know. They are fighting with each other. There's tremendous infighting.
The fate of the US-Iran talks looks increasingly unclear after Trump cancelled the Pakistan trip by his envoys, throwing the next diplomatic step into doubt. Many experts are now speculating about what happens next because a delicate truce is still holding even as formal negotiations remain stalled. Al Jazeera reported on April 26 that Washington's next move may be to keep the ceasefire alive while shifting away from in-person meetings. Al Jazeera reported, and I quote, "Militarily, the US is also going to continue to enforce its naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and targeting of all maritime activity by Iran to continue to pressure Tehran militarily. Economically, for now, there's still no timeline, exactly, for when we can expect these talks to resume. We can expect mediators to be employing different diplomatic tools to encourage both sides to remain at the negotiating table and to continue the dialogue. More than anything, right now, the focus, at least from US diplomats, is going to be to take advantage of this ongoing ceasefire to prevent anything that could threaten this delicate truce and that would lead these two countries to once again fall into open conflict." Unquote. In a clear show of strength, Iran is using the current lull in fighting to broadcast the scale of its military machine as tensions with the United States continue to climb. The Defense Ministry has announced that Iran is now producing more than 1,000 different types of weapons domestically, underscoring how far its homegrown industry has come under sanctions. Ministry spokesman Reza Tlaib delivered the message under fragile ceasefire, framing it as proof that Iran has not lost its edge despite weeks of conflict. He insisted that during the recent hostilities, Iran managed to maintain what he called operational superiority in the skies, combining air defenses and strike capabilities. Reza also declared that all major categories of military equipment are now being manufactured entirely inside the country, from missiles and drones to armor and air defense systems. According to him, this level of self-reliance is the result of more than 2 decades of continuous investment in Iran's defense sector. Officials further disclosed that a significant portion of Iran's missile arsenal has still not been deployed, implying that Tehran retains considerable firepower in reserve. State media added that Iranian forces were able to launch counterstrikes while keeping strong air defense coverage in place throughout the clashes. They also stressed that weapons production is deliberately spread across multiple locations nationwide, to ensure factories can keep running even if some facilities come under attack. Pezeshkian said on April 25 that Iran would not enter talks under pressure, threats, or blockade, hardening Tehran's position as diplomacy stalled again. The Iranian president made that declaration during a phone call with Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, as Islamabad continued trying to keep a mediation channel open. Pezeshkian also highlighted what Tehran sees as a contradiction in Washington's approach, saying the US cannot combine pressure tactics with claims that it still wants meaningful negotiations. Masoud Pezeshkian said, and I quote, "The contradiction has increased the level of mistrust, in Washington, among the Iranian people and officials of the Islamic Republic. The continuation of hostile US measures, including a naval blockade, is inconsistent with its stated claims of pursuing a political resolution. As long as the United States' hostile actions and operational pressures do not cease, rebuilding trust and making progress on the path of dialogue will face serious difficulty. The Islamic Republic will not enter imposed negotiations under pressure, threats, or blockade." Unquote. Meanwhile, Trump said he had cancelled the trip of 2 US envoys to Pakistan for Iran talks. Trump claimed Iran improved its offer only after he scrapped the visit, but said the revised proposal was still not enough.
You probably heard that we canceled the trip. We have all the cards. We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough. And so we'll deal by telephone, and they can call us anytime they want. Again, we have all the cards. They have no military left, practically. They have no leaders left. We don't know who the leaders are. Nobody knows who the leader. I don't think they know who the leaders are, very importantly. So you saw that. And any other questions?
Yeah, sure. What have you heard from Pakistan? The Iran's foreign minister was in Pakistan yesterday night.
I think Pakistan is terrific. I think the field marshal is fantastic. I think the prime minister of Pakistan is great. And, you know, they'd like to see something happen, but we're not going to be traveling 15, 16 hours to have a meeting with people that nobody ever heard of.
What changed to make you make that decision?
Too much travel. When they say the meeting's scheduled for Tuesday, I said, Tuesday, that's a long time from now. But when you get right down to it, it's a lot of traveling. No, we don't want to do that.
At what point do you send Witkoff and Kushner and send Vice President Vance in? What point are you going to be ready?
They're all very competent, all three. Those are three good. But they weren't meeting with the leader of the country. They were meeting with other people. And I said, we're just not going to do it. Too much traveling, takes too long, too expensive. I'm a very cost-conscious person.
Okay.
Mr. President, you said this week that you're not a fan of prediction markets and that they're turning the country into a casino. But at the same time, that you're not a fan of prediction
markets. I don't know. I know some people that are very smart. They like it. They disagree, but they like it. But what would you like to know? Who are you with?
I'm with Decrypt, a crypto-focused publication, and we also have a prediction market. And your administration is aggressively pushing to legalize these markets, and I was wondering if you potentially wanted to reconsider that policy.
A lot of other countries are doing it, and when the other countries do it, we get left out in the cold if we don't do it. So, but I know people that are in the prediction market business, and they're pretty.
On the subject of crypto, what made you decide to go and attend this meme coin conference today?
It's a big industry, and we want to beat China at the industry. We're leading with crypto. We're leading with AI, and I really feel I have an obligation from this. As a president, I have to be able to make sure that all of our industries do well. Crypto is a big industry. It's actually become somewhat mainstream. The banks have it. People have it, and I think as the leader of the country, we want to lead in AI. And we're leading China by a lot in AI, and we're also leading in crypto.
Do you agree with the decision by Jeanine Pirro to drop the investigation into Jerome Powell?
Well, I want to find out. You know, it's not dropped. They're looking into the whole thing about
refer to the IG.
What I want to look at, with the IG. What I want to look at is, how can a building that I could have done for $25 million cost $4 billion? That's a big thing, and he was in charge. So we'll get to the bottom of it. Yeah, I think Jeanine is fantastic. And she worked with other people on that. I tell you, I want to find out. I have an obligation to find out. This was done during Biden, but I have an obligation to find out. I would have done that building for $25 million, had money left over, and it would have been open a long time ago.
Did you or your people ask her to drop it?
Because for the country, look, we have a railroad under construction in California. That's the worst thing I've ever seen under Gavin Newsom. And I want to find out why that one is costing 20 times what it was projected to cost. Likewise, the Fed building is a small. I built a hotel in Washington, it's the Waldorf Astoria. I built it for $201 million. And I believe it's bigger than the Fed building. And you have bathrooms, you have a lot of, it's much tougher, much more expensive to build a hotel than an office. I want to find out, how can a building of that size cost for whatever it's going to be? Nobody knows, by the way, what it's going to be. Kevin is going to be fantastic, Kevin Walsh. He may never get to be in that building.
Is it smooth sailing for him now? Will Tillis drop his block?
I would imagine it's smooth, but whether it is or not, somebody has to find out why that building that should have cost $25 million is costing billions of dollars.
Sure, what else?
And you know why they have to find it out? For other buildings, because that's not the only one. I think that's the most egregious example.
What else caused you?
I'll deal with whoever's running the show. I'll deal with whoever runs the show. They don't know. They are fighting with each other. There's tremendous infighting. They're probably fighting for leadership. In many cases, I think they're fighting not to be the leader because we knocked out 2 levels of leaders. But I'll deal with whoever we have to. But there's no reason to wait 2 days have people traveling for 16, 17 hours. And we're not doing it that way. We'll do it when they want. They can call me. We have all the cards. We've won everything. We have all the cards.
Yesterday you said to Reuters that we're dealing with who is in charge now. What changed from yesterday to today?
Nothing. It's just that they gave us a paper that should have been better. And interestingly, immediately when I canceled it, within 10 minutes we got a new paper that was much better.
What was on that
Did you
paper,
tell us?
sir? What was?
We
Can you
talked
explain?
about they will not have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. Look, that whole deal is not complicated. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very
Did they
simple.
offer like
ceasefire
20
remaining?
years
Will you
on?
continue the ceasefire?
Haven't even thought about it.
Did they offer anything in return to 20 years of suspending enriched
They
uranium?
offered a lot.
What did
but
they offer?
They offered a lot, but not enough. Thank you.
Will
Oh,
Kevin
on the
Warren
dinner.
be Fed chair in May, do you think?
That cancellation came even as Iran said it had already shared a workable framework with Pakistan through its own diplomatic channel. Araghchi said he had presented Tehran's workable framework to Pakistani mediators as part of efforts to permanently end the war on Iran. He made the remark in a post on X after wrapping up a day-long visit to Islamabad. Abbas Araghchi said, and I quote, "Very fruitful visit to Pakistan, whose good offices and brotherly efforts to bring back peace to our region we very much value. Shared Iran's position concerning workable framework to permanently end the war on Iran. Have yet to see if the US is truly serious about diplomacy." Unquote. Earlier, Iran had already rejected a second round of talks in Islamabad over the continuing US naval blockade, which remains a central obstacle to direct engagement.